Hello guys, welcome back to another FIFA 22 video. Today is the 4-2-3-1 Team of the Season, Custom Tactics and Player Instructions Pro Player. Top 200, let's get straight into them. Starting off with the tactics, so I'm not wasting any of your time. Defensive style, we are sticking on balance. We don't really want to be using the press this formation. It's a more defensive formation than attacking formation, which is why we are avoiding the press. We sort of keep in our natural shape and not letting our players drain too much energy and get into our position. When the width we're using 47, this is quite a weird reason why we're using 47 because it's so precise. But it's because of this formation, you see, it's not that wide, but it's also not that narrow. It's sort of in between. We don't actually have wingers right up against the touchline, but it's also not a narrow formation like, say, the 4-1-2-1-2, like here is a very narrow formation. 4-2-3-1 sort of more in the middle, which is why we're using 47. Because what 47 will do, it will bring it slightly narrower within the default shape, making it slightly harder for the opposition to break through the middle. But it also sort of stops the opposition from just being able to play out wide. If you make it too narrow, then all the opposition are going to do is go, right, we're just going to use our wingers and just play out wide the whole game and trying to get crosses into the box. But it sort of stops them from doing both, just playing it in slightly narrower. Because your fullbacks are still stopping them playing it out too wide, but then also it's still slightly narrow, making it harder for them to play through the middle. So 47 works well. Depth on 57, just pushing that line slightly higher, not too much higher, but it's just 10 depth above the width on 57 there. If we push it too high, then obviously our line is going to be too high. Once you get to 70 and above, obviously you get the automatic offside trap. We don't want to be using that today. We're going to be sticking on 57. So it's not too deep that we're sort of letting them have the ball and letting them play around us, but it's also not too high that our players are too far up the pitch and we're going to get open to the counter-attack. On the build-up play, we're using balance today. This just gives us pretty much the most chance to pretty much just have the most freedom on the ball. It's that self-explanatory. Using slow build-up can work sometimes quite well on the 4-2-3-1, but not today. We're going to be using on balance. Fast build-up, not really too great on the 4-2-3-1, and long ball, I would try to avoid it because it can be very predictable. So we are using balance, just keeping the shape pretty much how it is, making the use of the shape and making it as unpredictable as possible for our opposition. For the chance creation, we are using direct passing. Direct passing and forward runs are the meta this year. I never recommend using balance. I try and recommend to use at least forward runs or direct passing at all times. Today is direct passing because I think that is the slightly better option. It is the slightly more meta version. Just getting the ball straight to your attackers as easy as possible. Direct passes, it is self-explanatory. Getting the ball to your left cam, your right cam and your striker as often as possible. The width we're going to be using 53, so I know it's actually slightly less than the defensive. No, sorry, not too much more. It's only 5 more than the 6 more than the attacking. The defensive width. The attacking width is only 6 more than the defensive width. That's because we don't want to push it out too much wide. We don't want to change the shape of the formation too much every time we lose the ball and gain the ball. It makes it a slight bit different, but all it really does is push those left cam and the right cam out slightly narrower. So they come in a bit for defending, then they're sort of slightly wider out for attacking, and there's the fullbacks coming slightly narrower, and then pushing out slightly wider up against the touchline for attacking. For the players in box, we're using 3, and I'm going to show you why in a minute when we get onto the play instructions why we're using 3. It's because when we get onto the instructions, we want to be choosing manually who we want going into the box and who we don't want. And if we put this too high, then too many players who we don't want in the box are going to be trying to overload the box, which is really not what we want. Corners on 2 and free kicks on 2 as always. Right, so now for the player instructions. Your striker, balanced width, so give him the most he can just sort of roam around a bit at the top. Is that simple, really? I usually say use stay central when there's 2 strikers, but it's only 1 striker. Sort of give him more freedom up for top. He's not going to obviously roam out to the wing. He's not obviously going to roam out to the wing, but he will stay quite central, but it just gives him a bit more freedom, making it easier to get those direct passes to him. Getting behind, making forward runs behind the opposition defenders, and stay forward, so he's always at the top of the pitch, not coming back when defending, so he's always going to be up there when you need him, and if interceptions, just leave on normal. Now for your free cams here, this is what I mean when I say you want to separate the attack from the defence. On this formation, it's really easy to do so because you've got the free cams here, and you've got your striker, and then you've got the 2 CDMs and your defence, and that is the separate sort of parts. So our defence are our 4 defenders, sort of main defensive line, and then our 2 CDMs are the defensive part. We want to make sure they're always back and not pushing forward, so they're always going to be there when we are defending when we need them. And then our attackers are also going to be the same thing, just the opposite way around. They're always going to be up the top of the pitch when you need them and not coming back when defending as often. So our free cams and our striker for now. I recommend on these free cams here, stay forward on all of them to ensure they're separate from the defence. That is the most important part. It doesn't mean they're not going to be doing any defending because the cams are actually sort of quite deep compared to how wingers are, as you will see in the game normally. So wingers are obviously almost as high as strikers. Cams are slightly deeper, but these cams in this formation sort of do act a bit like wingers, just a bit narrower sometimes as well. They do really tend to push up against the touchline. So we're going to be using to stay forward if they're not coming back too far deep. Get into the box across to ensure we are overloading the box. That is on all 3 of them. Get into the box across to make sure we are always overloading the box as much as possible with these attacking players specifically, and then the rest just leave on default. If you want to, you can use free roam on your left one and your right one. This sort of gives them the most freedom on the ball, meaning they can come slightly narrower and then go slightly wider up against the touchline as well. I do play like this sometimes, and it can be quite good, especially if you've got quite fast left cam and right cam. If you're playing more actual cams, say like Bruno Fernandes, who's obviously not the quickest, but he's a good cam, then I recommend using stick to position. If you're playing one, maybe even a winger there, maybe even if you're switching in game and actually playing a winger here, then I would recommend using free roam. But that is sort of up to you. Just sort of mess around with it and see what you prefer. For the two CDMs here, you want cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, and cover centre. Cut passing lanes splits the opposition, cuts out the passing lanes, stopping them making those through balls through to their attackers. Stay back while attacking just ensures they're separate from the attack. Sorry, so yeah, separate from the attack. I can't talk at all today. So stay back while attacking to make sure they're not pushing forward, and then cover centre. They're always in the centre and not pushing. Not drifting out wide, because you don't want that. You want them to stay central, stay in the centre, right above the centre backs. You don't want them to drift out wide, or you're going to leave a massive gap in the middle, especially when defending. For your two centre backs, always leave default, and then for your full backs, make sure you have stay back while attacking on to ensure they are not pushing forward, and then just leave the rest default. If you want to with the fullbacks, you can put balanced attack on if you really want them to be pushing forward, and then overlapping those wide players to the left cam and the right cam if you want to. If you have very fast fullbacks and very good attacking fullbacks, then maybe you would want to use balanced attack, and then also make sure you use an overlap though. That is very important that you're using overlaps, so they're making those overlapping runs on the outside of the wide players instead of coming on inverted runs, which is not what you want. Make sure it's on overlap and then balanced attack. But personally, I recommend to keep your fullback staying defensive on this formation in particular, which is why we're using stay back while attacking. And then lastly, for your goalkeeper, comes to crosses, so your keeper's coming off his line more to defend corners and crosses. And sweeper keeper, so he's be more aggressive, coming outside his box and challenging the opponent for loose balls. Like it says there, just pretty much winning the ball in his hands as often as possible. Because once your goalkeeper's got the ball in his hands, you're not going to lose that until you give it away. And that's everything for today. That's the 4-2-3-1 team of the season, custom tactics and player instructions. Top 200 in foot jumps, 20-0. That is everything for today. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll reply as quickly as possible and help you out. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy using these custom tactics, and goodbye.